Welcome back to another episode of the Tacho Show. Now today we've got a very awesome video because we just got the greatest demoted banner unit of all time. Even if you include the seasonal demotes, I think this guy is actually the best 4-star banner release ever in the history of Fae. First of all, I mean, look at his artwork, dude. This is so crazy. The concept of having a younger version of Medeus, first of all, is amazing. And then Daisuke Iizuka just killed it with the artwork as usual. This is what he's really good at drawing, by the way. Daisuke Iizuka is really good at combat poses. If you've seen his artwork for anything, like Duel Masters, for example, which is actually the reason why I was able to meet him in real life, like, this is what he's the best at. Combat poses, like battle poses. Look at that shit, man. This dude is awesome. Look at that punch right there. That punch of justice. Enemies are about to be eating those fists. And then here is the injured artwork. Just completely goated. So, Medeus is amazing. He is really good. Should you consider plus 10ing him? Absolutely. Because it's going to come at virtually no cost to the player. All you got to do is get the copies of him. Now, that may not be the easiest thing to do. He is a demote, so he's going to be in a very oversaturated blue pool where you're probably pulling more Gwendolyn's than anything. But if you just passively pull blue on every freebie and you just passively get your copies of him, you'll eventually get him plus 10, and he's going to be really good. So stat line is 41 HP, 49 attack, 19 speed, 42 defense, and 47 res. Gives him a 198 BST overall, which is so crazy. He also has 2 super boons. He's got it on plus attack and plus defense, which perfect placements for super boons on this guy. And he's very min-maxed as well. It's like he's an Edelgard unit where he's got sub 20 speed and then everything else is over 40. So looking really good for Medeus. Now his preference weapon, another really big asset that he's got that most demoted units do not have. So Ancient Betrayal, 16 might, grants attack up 3. If the enemies have a ranged weapon, then he gets adaptive damage, typical of these dragon units. Then also at the start of player phase or enemy phase, if his HP is over 25%, he's granting attack and res up 6, on guard, and nullify foe bonuses in combat to himself and allies in 2 spaces for 1 turn. Very good start of turn bonus effect there. On guard, unfortunately, doesn't really do much outside of Aether Raids. And even in Aether Raids, it's not really all that good anymore. But you're going to mainly be using this guy for arena mode because of his scoring, which we're going to take a look at right now, I guess. So the stand-in for him, because he's not on the score calculator yet, is the Summer Aleer. Both of them are dragon types. Both of them have the same BST. And both of them have a preference weapon. So you'll see here 768. That is as high as it gets for free-to-play scoring. He ties with Marnie. Now, that a lot of that is in part to the fact that he has access to High Dragon Wall, which is, for whatever reason, the highest scoring inheritable assist in the game at 400 SP. But he's got it. He's also got the Distant Counter Dragon Seal, which is tied with Distant Counter Melee for the highest scoring Sacred Seal. So he's just superior. Get the hell out of here, Cyril. You bastard, you, with your ranged gatekeep scoring score. Get out of here. Panette, I thought actually he was going to score close to Panette, but then him being a dragon with High Dragon Wall, I was like, yeah, he might score higher than Panette, and he does by a little bit over by 2 points. And then he ties with Marnie, who is on every single arena team. Even Wales run Marnie. That's how impactful of a scoring unit she is. And Medeus is right there. He is tied with that. So be prepared to see this guy a lot over the coming years as a arena unit. Okay, also his weapon at the start of combat, if his HP is over 25%, then he inflicts a penalty on the enemy's attack, defense, and res, equal to 20% of his res at the start of combat plus 5. Now this is going to be visible res, so skills like fortifications and crystalline water, those are going to be able to raise the check for this. Whereas in combat skills like finishes and solos and stuff like that, those are not going to count towards this. So maybe some food for thought. Also, he deals damage plus X, excluding on AoEs, and reduces damage from foes' attacks by X. That's on all their attacks, by the way. Doesn't matter if it's their first attack or brave attack or who cares? It's all of their attacks reduced by X. So excluding AoEs again on the DR, X is the number of staff and dragon allies on the map, excluding himself, times 5 plus 10 with a max of 20. So basically, at default, it's a plus 10. So X is going to be 10 just from existing. And then you would need 2 other dragon or staff allies on the team to push it up to the max of 20. Now, we do have one other really good arena viable dragon in the game. That is the New Year Kana. So she is... I mean, you could get her from the Grail shop. So that would be a possible 15 there if you've got her on the team. The other is a little bit hard because it's like you can't really justify taking Marnie off the team. You could easily slide in the Kana over Panette if you wanted to for your arena core. Marnie, though, is a mainstay. You can't really get rid of her. So where you would get the other dragon or staff unit from is the bonus unit. So it's not going to be consistent. It's going to be like every once in a while when you got a dragon bonus, either as a legendary or as one of the like actual bonus units. You could go for that. Or a staff unit. We do have legendary Sakura, who is really good. She's pretty much the best legendary hero. So that would also be really good there. So it's not impossible for him to get the max 20 in arena mode. It's just going to be very unlikely. Most of the time you'll see plus 15, but he can get to plus 20 if it's like bonus Corrin season or bonus Alir season or so on and so forth. Alright, then also if the foe's attack can trigger their special and his res is better than the foe's res plus 5, then he gets a scowl of plus 1 on the enemy's special before they hit him. So built-in scowl, very good. He's got a lot of true damage, a lot of true DR, and he's giving support. That's everything we could possibly want out of a demoted unit. So he's the GOAT. He's the greatest 4-star banner demote ever. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some builds here. So this is the first build for him. This one is going to be an Omni Tanka build. So should seem pretty similar to what you've seen in the past. Distant bonus doubler with Lagoo's Friend so that we get stats and distant countering. And then also Lagoo's Friend for the true DR. And then also the special jump and all the great things about that skill. We have Dragon's Flame as the special. It's a new one from the Atune Tiki, who's on the same banner as this guy. And it's a little glitched right now. I'm pretty sure they're going to fix it very soon. But right now, it neutralizes defensive-based specials like Miracle and Pavis and stuff like that. It's not supposed to do that. So it will be fixed. Or maybe it'll be buffed. I mean, sometimes they do that too. Sometimes they decide, oh, you know what? We might as well just buff this skill and let it have that effect that it didn't actually have. So, who knows? Maybe they'll just include that as part of the skill. I don't know. But as it stands now, it's still better than Dragon's Roar. Dragon's Roar gives you, 50% of res as true damage, and then 40% non-pierceable DR. Dragon's Flame gives you 40% non-pierceable DR, and then 80% bonus damage based on defense, and 30% healing. So it's basically just Aether on crack with less cooldown, which is really good if you were keeping track there. So this is going to be his go-to special pretty much. Times Pulse Helm is really good. Now, it's basically just Times Pulse 4. It gives you -1 cooldown at the start of turn if you're at max cooldown. And then after combat, if you're at max cooldown, it gives you another -1. But where this one differs from the other Times Pulse skills is that it'll give you in combat attack and res based on your max cooldown count value +2. So Dragon Flame is a 4-hit because he doesn't have -1. And then we're getting +2 to that, so he's at attack and res up 6 in combat. Very good Times Pulse skill for this guy specifically. We got Hardy Bearing here just to get rid of any bullshit effects like Desperation and stuff like that that would let the enemies just hit him too many times in a row. And then Null Sea Echo, obviously, very bread and butter for these Omni tanks, so they can't get messed with by Fire Sweep and staff types. So overall, very good. Distant Bonus Doubler, surprisingly, is the one skill that I think has fallen off a little. Medeus himself is giving a status bonus that neutralizes enemies' bonuses. So you would be better off with a different distant counter skill in the future. It would have been great if he could run Prime. Unfortunately, he can't get Prime because he's a Dragon type. So we're actually back in vogue looking for a good distant counter skill. I guess you could give him like solo, like Def Res solo distant. Remember those skills from way back when, introduced on like Ninja Zelgius and the Fallen Byleth? Like, those were pretty cracked back then. They may be on the rise again. They may be making a comeback, actually. Yeah, let's see here. Distant solo, right? Yeah, distant def res solo. Maybe that's the key. Maybe that's the better skill to go for. I don't know. But regardless, there you go for the Omni tank build. Okay, next up, we've got the arena build. Now, you'll notice right away this build is intended to kick Marnie's ass. So, we've got high Dragon Wall. It can come in handy. It's not full-on Warp Bubble. It's only Warp Bubble against ranged opponents, but still good enough. We'll take Warp Bubble, and mainly it's just there for the scoring, because, like I said, it's the highest scoring assist, or highest scoring B skill in the game right now for Inheritance. And then it also gives him a kind of like a res, what is it, res, phantom res, where it gives him +5 res if he has any skills that do a res check, which he actually does on his weapon. He's doing the scowl check. So instead of having your res +5, it's your res +10 in order to get the scowl off, which is good. If you're scowling Marnie, she's got no shot, man. She's not going to be able to do anything. Earth Fire Boost is giving him guard as well, so we're comboing that, and then I gave him Tempo Echo here. So Tempo plus guard plus scowl, Marnie is just dead. Like, she stands no chance. She's not going to be able to do anything to touch this guy, and you will be getting your special off because we've got Tempo here, nullifying her guard. Tempo Echo also cuts DR in half, so if she's running like Weaving Fighter or Canny Fighter to get DR there, it's going to be cut in half. And then we're going to just blow her up with a Dragon Flame to the face. Also, the Erica Ring here, which gives him Brave Attacking, so he's just going to get to his special. Marnie can't do anything. And then Fatal Smoke is like just the icing on the cake. You could probably not even run that. You could run something else, I bet. Because at that point, like, you're already crushing Marnie so hard. You don't really need Fatal Smoke to turn off her miracle to be able to beat her. So there's other options for sure. You could go for Barricade, which is really good. It's a little redundant with high Dragon Wall to get Warp Bubble again. But it is Warp Bubble against melee, which is very valuable. And then it also just gives some drive, defense, and res, and neutralizes debuffs to defense and res. So Barricade could also be a good option here for the arena build if you wanted to go for that. There's also like Breath of Life 4, which is an option, or yeah, an Odd Defense Wave is actually a pretty fun option on him too, because Odd Defense Wave gives him tempo, which is a very good skill for him to get. And then it also gives the start of turn defense up 6 to himself and allies in 2 spaces. So combine that with his weapon, he'd be giving attack, res, and defense up 6, which is pretty good. So that could also be another possible option if you wanted to go for that. So Odd Defense Wave 4 also in the mix. Alright, so next up we're going to be taking a look at the player phase build for Medeus. Now, this one's a little bit wacky, but it also will work very good. So the cool thing about him running Brutal Tempest is that he doesn't have to run Endless Tempest, which normally I actually do like that a little better because it has the neutralize foe bonuses effect on it. In this case, this guy already does that. So you're free to run Brutal Tempest. You get the +1 movement, you get the Canto Distant, and that's all really good stuff for him. Combine that with Momentum 4, which is giving him a lot of cooldown reduction and true damage. So he's going to get a more consistent Dragon Flame there. We got Tempo Echo and also Erica Rings, so he Brave Attacks and neutralizes enemies' guard, and he's cutting DR. And then also we got Times Pulse there, Times Pulse 3, which will just give him more consistency at activating his special. Sly Sturdy Blow is already at max because he gives himself 2 bonuses. He's giving himself On Guard and Nullify foe bonuses. So you're getting the 5 points of true damage there. And then also you're getting the in combat, what is it? I think it's like attack up 8 and then defense up 10. So pretty good DPS skill. This one is more focused on just like hitting the enemies really hard. But in the same vein, like as you could run a offensive player phasing type of build like this, you can also give him more defensive skills and kind of play like the same spirit of that build. So Lagu's Friend works just as fine on a build like this because it's still giving him true DR, and then it's still giving him cooldown reduction when the enemies are attacking him. Fortifications is a premier hit and run skill for this guy because it's going to let him set up the stone tiles. It gives him distant counter. It gives him visible defense and res, which is good because, like we said earlier, visible res helps the check on his weapon there. So that's all really good. And we're still running Brutal Tempest to get the bonus movement, and then the Erica Ring for the Brave attacking. So, yeah, this is a different, like, 2 different builds, but they're very similar in spirit, but they're trying to accomplish different things. One is for DPS, and then the other is more so for, like, defensive support there. And then finally, we've got a support build for Medeus. So this one, once again, we're going for fortifications, because just the ability to set up the stone tiles for support is really good. Sigurd Ring is going to allow him to move 3 and then Canto 3. Very good for setting up the stone tiles exactly where you want him. Attack Res Havoc is a brand new passive, and it's really good, actually. I actually like it better than the Split Discord skills. So what this one does is it's going to inflict attack and res -7 and sabotage on foes on the enemy team with less res than Medeus that are also within 2 spaces of an ally. So you can easily just hit the entire enemy team with that. It also does Schism, which turns off triangle attack and brave attacking, and it also turns off Pathfinder too, which is funny. And then it even gives him in-combat buffs too. It's giving him, I believe, attack and res -4 on the enemy, and then 20% bonus damage based on res. When he's already getting such a fat amount of bonus damage on his weapon, like up to 20, can really combo well and let this guy hit really hard. And then Pulse Up Ploy for even more debuff support. Gives him the cooldown pulsing at the start of turn of -1. And then you inflict Ploy and Exposure. So 2 really good debuffs again there. Turning off the enemy's ability to have like bonus doubler and grant strategy. And then Exposure for +10 damage. Once again, Tempo Echo. And then we're going for Squad Ace BX3, which is HP 5 and Defense and Res up 3. This one is more so to raise our visible stats, so we have a better chance of activating our debuffing skills there. So those are some builds for Medeus. I mean, we barely even scratched the surface of like what other skills you could give him. We could quickly take a look here. Look at this. So finish skills are an option. Scowl skills are an option. Excel skills also an option. Let's just make this a little bigger. Yeah, just so you guys can see, like, the laundry list of skills we didn't go over in this video. Yeah, the Scowl skills, you can stack a lot of Scowl on him because he has it on his weapon. He can get it from the Echo skill. He can get it on his C skill with Res Wave D. And then he can also get it in the A skill if you were to give him the Scowl A skill, right? And I think there's even a B skill that might give Scowl too. One of these dragon skills. It's either dragon scales or edge scales. I can't remember, but you could just get Scowl up the ass with this guy. Although it's very pointless up to a certain point that, like, it's really unnecessary to have that much Scowl, but you could do that if you wanted to. And then there's other skills like Barricade is really good. We showed off as a possibility on the Arena build. Creation Pulse if you want cooldown pulsing in a different way. Insight Support is great. Attack Wave N, even though he already gives attack up 6 to allies on his weapon. The in-combat drive attack up 6 on, what is it, even number turns, I believe it is. And then also the healing of HP up 5 on every attack. Could be really good for that if you want him to just be a little better in combat there. So lots of really good options for him, man. He's goated. Like I said, he is the GOAT of 4-star Demotes. So that's going to wrap us up for our builds video for Medeus. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. This is your boy Tacho signing out, so take care, and I'll catch y'all again on the flip side.